Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ma'am and friends, we are from Group 4. We would like to present our topic today about the first is designing classroom language test, and the second is the stages of the task construction. And our group members are, the first is I am Utari Dwi Sartika, and also my friends, Nandatul Faradila. Okay, we continue to the first topic. It is about designing classroom language tasks. So in this chapter, we will draw the foundation and tools to begin the process of designing tasks or revising existing tasks. And to start the process, we need to ask some critical questions. The first is what is the purpose of the task? So before we design the language task, the first is we need to know the purpose of our task. So why am I creating this task, or why was it created by someone else? And then is it for an evaluation of overall proficiency, or is it to place students into a course, or is it to measure achievement within a course? Once you have established the major purpose of the task, you can determine its objectives. So the second is what are the objectives of the task? Yeah, it is about what specifically am I trying to find out, and then is it establishing appropriate objectives involves a number of issues, or it is the decisions about what language abilities are to be assessed. And the third is how will the task specifications reflect both the purpose and also the objectives. So evaluate or design task, you must make sure that the objectives are incorporated into a structure that appropriately weights the various competencies being assessed. And the fourth is how will the task be selected and the separate items arranged. The tasks that the test takers must perform need to be practical in the ways that we have also defined in the previous chapter about the practicality. And they should also achieve content validity by presenting tasks being assessed, and then they should be able to be evaluated reliably by the teacher or by the scorer, and the tasks themselves should strive for authenticity, and the progression of tasks have to be biased for best performance. And the last is what kind of scoring, grading, and feedback is expected. Well, as we know that the tests vary in the form and function of feedback depending on their purpose. For every task, the way results are reported is an important consideration. Yeah, these 5 questions should form the basis of your approach to designing tasks for your classroom. Okay, next. Yeah, in the designing task, so we should know about the task types, and I think we also have discussed it in the previous meeting. So there are 5 tasks. There are 5 types of tasks. The first is the language aptitude task. It is designed to measure capacity or a general ability to learn a foreign language and ultimate success in that undertaking. Two standardized language aptitude tests, for example, is the Modern Language Aptitude Test, or MLAT, and also the Pimsleur Language Aptitude Battery, or PLAB. Both are English language tests and require students to perform a number of language-related tasks, such as the number learning and the phonetic script, and about the spelling clues and the words in sentences, and also about the pair associated. And then the second is about the proficiency test. A proficiency test is not limited to any one course, curriculum, or a single skill in the language. It tests overall ability. It have traditional consists of standardized multiple choice items on grammar, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and also sometimes a sample of writing is added. And more recent tests also include oral production performance. And we also have discussed in the previous meeting. And the third is about the placement test. Placement test, a sampling of the material to be covered in the various courses in a curriculum. A student's performance on the test should indicate the point at which the students will find material neither too easy nor too difficult, but appropriately challenging. Yeah, as we know that the purpose of the placement test is to place the student into a particular level or section of a language curriculum or school. And then the fourth is about the diagnostic test. It is designed to diagnose specified aspects of a language. A test in pronunciation, for example, might diagnose the phonological features of English that are difficult for learners and should therefore become part of a curriculum. And then the last is about the achievement task. I'm sorry, it is the achievement task. Well, it is related directly to classroom lessons, units, or even a total curriculum. It is often summative because they are administered at the end of a unit term of study. The test also play an important formative role. An effective achievement test will overwatch back about the quality of a learner's performance in subsets of the unit of the course. Okay, next. Okay, there are some practical steps to test constructions. Simply, there are some practical steps to construct the test. So the first is assessing clear and unambiguous objectives by knowing the purpose of the test we are creating. As I have explained before, in designing the test, the first or the basic steps that you should consider is the purpose of the test. So you should assess clear and also the unambiguous objectives. In addition to know the purpose of the test that you are creating, you need to know as specifically as possible what it is you want to test. Sometimes the teachers give tasks simply because because it's Friday of the third week of the course, and officer has the glances at the chapters covered during those 3 weeks. And then the second is determine a simple and practical outline and also test the skills and decide forms of the item and the item types and also the task. And the third is devising test tasks by drafting the questions, revising the draft, replace aid from college, and imagine yourself as a student who write for this test. And then the fourth is designing a multiple choice items by checking practicality, reliability, and also the facility of cheating. Next. Okay. And then we continue to scoring. Okay, the scoring plan reflects the relative weight that teacher places on each section and items in each section. As you can see in the table, it is a decision about the scoring your test. So there are percent of total grade and also the possible total correct in the oral interview. So you could take 40% of the total grades. It consists of 4 scores, 5 to 1 range, and multiple by 2. And it is equal by 40. And then for the listening test, you could take it into 20%, and it could be 20. And the reading test, You could take it into 20%. Also for the writing, it could be 20%. So the sum of overall test, it has 100 for the total score. And the next, okay, about the grading. How you assign letter grades to the test is a product of the country, culture, and context of the English classroom, and also the institutional expectations. And then the third is explicit and implicit definition of grades that we have set forth. And the fourth is the relationship that we have established with the class. And then the students' expectations that you have endangered in previous tests and quizzes in this class. So to determine the letter grades to the test, you should consider five things, yeah, five these things. And then we continue. Yeah, and then we continue to give feedback. There are three forms of feedback. The first is the letter guide, and also the second is about the total score, and the third is 4 sub-scores. Okay, for the listening and reading sections, it includes the indication of correct or incorrect responses, and view, the scores for each element are being rated, and then a checklist of areas needing work, oral feedback after the interview, and a post-interview conference to go over the result. And on the essay, it includes the scores for each element being rated and a checklist of areas needing work and a suggestion, and a post-test conference to go over work. And also the last is a self-assessment. And the forms, it could be also by peer checking of result. And then the individual conferences with each student to review the whole test, and also a whole class discussion. It also the forms of giving feedback. Next.
Now we jump to the stages of the test constructions. There are 3 of a set of the general procedure for the test construction. The first is statement of the problem, and the second is providing a solution to the problem, and the last is validation of the test. This is taken from the Hedges. Okay, let's see the explanation. The first is statement of the problem. The purpose of this stage is to make clear about what it is one wants to know and for what purposes. Okay, for provide the statement of the problem, here are the following questions that have to be answered. The first is, what kind of a test is to be tested? What kind of a test it is to be? That like we have learned in the reviews meeting about the type of tests. There are 5. The first is proficiency test, achievement test, diagnostics test, and also the placement test. We should consider which type of test that what is the precise purpose. After we define the specific type of test, we will know about the precise purpose. For example, when we want to construct the achievement test, whether in order it is want to know about the learners' achievement toward their performance in the course taken in the period of time, we can construct the achievement test for progress achievement test or final achievement test. And the purpose will be precisely known when we know the of the test that we want to construct. And then the third is as okay. Okay, let me explain again for the number number 5. How accurate must the result be? For example, for the proficiency test and the diagnostic test, of course, the accurate of the result would be different. For the diagnostic test, in order the test is to know about the student's strengths and also the student's weaknesses will be different with the result, the accurate result that we need from the proficiency test. That's to judge the test takers pass or failed in the test to be said as a proficient. So the result of the proficiency test and also the diagnostic test will be significantly different. And then number 6, it is how important is backwards. As we know, backwards is the test effect on English language teaching. For example, the test will be really important for the backwards in order to take the next or the further decisions about the teaching activities to be taken in order to make the teaching much better. And the last is what constraint might be appear. We also need to think about this. What constraints might be appear in 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 constructing, about the time limitations, about the ability of resource in making the test, and also about the time allocation for correcting and also scoring the test. Next. Okay. The second is providing a solution to the problem. After the specific statement of the problem is already specified, next we have to provide a solution to the problem. And for this, there are three steps. The first is writing specification of the test. It includes the content, and then format and timing, criteria level of performance, and also scoring procedures. For the content, it refers to entire potential content, not to a single content. And the sample will appear in the individual versions of a text. And to consider for content, the important thing is the content should be as fully specified as possible. Okay, for example, the content for our test is taken from the textbook. When for the junior high school, take the test or the content will be taken from the textbook when English rings the bell. Okay, so content is like that. And then the operations. Operation is about the task that candidates or the test takers have to be able to carry out. For example, in the reading text, the student is asked, the students are asked to scan the text to locate the specific informations. And then text, the type of the text may be the letters, memos, and then letters, memos, advertisements, and then the academic essays, and etc. And then the addresses. Addresses is about to whom the candidate might expect to write or speak to, for example, to the teacher, to the classmates. Okay. And then the last is topic. Topic are the selected according to topics are selected according to the suitability for the test takers and the type of the test. And then the format and timing. About the format and timing, it specified the test structure, including time allocated for the components and the item types. And for the criteria level or of performance, that is about the required level of performance for success should be specified, really specified. For example, what are the criteria for the test takers to be said pass or fail for such tests? So we already know about rubric, right? Okay, this is like the rubric that about the rubric to help us to judge the the test takers pass or fail. What the criteria should be fulfilled by the test takers to pass the test. That's the criteria level of performance. Next, the scoring procedure. The scoring procedure should be clear as how they will achieve high score of reliability. And then the second steps is writing the test. Okay, it is the sampling and then item writing and moderations. Okay, in item writing and moderations, the teacher write the items for the test and then ask the another teachers. I mean, ask the other teachers that don't have the same specific education with us for um, for doing the test and how our colleagues thinks about the test. Maybe for one item will be consist of two correct answers. Now, two correct answers. This will lead to the ambiguity. So the test constructor have to moderate items that have more than one correct answers and make it again. And then after all the items already fixed it, and it can be to jump to the writing and moderation of the scoring key. After all the items already be specified and fixed it, after we ask our colleagues to recheck and recheck about the language, maybe the typo, and then maybe for the potential more than one correct answer, or maybe the item doesn't have the correct answer. After we fix all of the items, we need to make the scoring key, this the detailed scoring key. And for the third step, it is pre-testing. It is proposes to identify the problems before the test is administered to the intended group. We can do this. We administer the task to the group that to the group that difference to the group that we intended to test. But usually in the real fact, this pretesting can be administered because it is a risk. It is give risk to our task, because the student sometimes will spread the issue about the exact point and or the exact topic that will be administered by us in the classroom. So so it will spread before we really administer the task to the intended group. So that's the risk one. Okay. Next. So we jump to the example of an achievement task. Okay. Here's really complete about the statement of the problems and then specification, content, addresses, topic, operations, and then skill to be tested, underlying skills, format and timing, and criteria, level of performance, and sampling, and also scoring key. This is the example that taken from Hadges, 1989, page number 53 until 55. So you guys can check this example on your book. Okay. Okay, the last stage from Hadges to task constructions is validation of the test. Validating a particular test are usually referred to criterion-related validity. It is about the criterion related validity. So it is linked each other. I think that's all of our presentation today. Here are the two references that we refer from. For example, I mean, the first is from Brown and the second is from Hadges. Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.